He says, sure, I've done that already.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that it? Don't you love it?
Just on your experiences, Stephen, when you were growing up in Belfast, where did your love and admiration for traditional and folk music originate from a young age?
Well, it was slightly remote, you know, although we had a great family in Belfast called the McPeaks. The McPeak family. They weren't just political people; they were culturally political, you know. And when I first heard the McPeaks playing, it blew my mind, you know. It blew my mind, man. But no, but it was astonishing. Two pipers and a harpist. They were out of this world, you know. Just playing very bluntly, if you like, just straightforward, you know. And they actually they told a story about they'd gone to the Eisteddfod in Wales, and they were in competition and with a German group, but McPeaks won, you know, and the German leader came over to him and said, "Congratulations! I suppose your Burgomeister will be at the station to meet you when you get home." And the old Dame McPeak said, "Son dear, our Burgomeister doesn't even know we're away." You know, it was very much one community.
Yeah.
You know, because at that point, that northern thing was about stifling one side of the community and their culture. Now it's too late; it's over now. And I think the All Ireland Fleadh in 26, I think, is going to be in Belfast, and it's being welcomed by both communities, which is a breakthrough. You know, that's good.
How important do you think that integration is, that we're all sharing the one island and we all share the same history, so why not bring it together?
I know, well, I see some people have got a distortion of the history. They don't know that the monarch of England said, kill the Irish language, you know, and I see people say, the Catholics are making a political thing out of recovering the language. Well, the destruction of the language is political. So you can call it what you like, but it's important for the language to be recovered, you know. And it's being recovered at big time. And I mean, I have a 6-year-old grand niece who's bilingual. That's what is happening. And it's absolutely beautiful, you know.
Obviously, poetry is something that's very close to your heart. What do you think is it about the spoken word that resonates so much with people?
You know, an Irish poetry has, well, I know it's a cliche to say rhythm, but the Irish poetry that was, you know, the terrible truth is that when Edmund Spenser, the English poet, came here and he was given land and everything, and he looked around him and he wrote to Queen Elizabeth I and said, if you want to take Ireland, you have to kill the poets. And that's how significant poetry was in this country, you know, that they weren't just courtly poets like Spenser was a courtly poet. They were of the people, and they were out with them, and they were defining language and movement in language and everything. So they were hugely significant, you know. And the other thing Queen Elizabeth said, which you probably know, but she said, "I don't want to hear another word of Irish." Yeah. So the destruction of the culture was so brutal, really, and what I find so exciting about the traditional music now is that it's soaring ahead, and there are young people playing music, and they're playing it in a way that is new. You know, they're not just copying a tradition. They're fantastic, and I think that's that has transformed the country, you know, and I think, although I know Louis de Puer, who writes in Irish, and he was at this thing for Gaza the other night, and reading a poem in Irish that he had composed especially for refugees, really, and he, you know, that's making a huge impact, I think, you know, and you know, we have these great poets like Muldoon has great Irish, you know, and he does write in Irish, but they're Muldoon, Mahon, Heaney, of course, and before that the great Kinsella. You know, there's wonderful poems that Kinsella wrote about trying to recover his writing in Irish, you know, and also Michael Hartnett, and they had great difficulty in entering the tradition because it had lost them and they were writing in English. But it's fantastically painful for them. But I mean, the way musicians and artists and poets are insisting on getting the culture back it's just extraordinary.
How would you sum up the current state of trad and folk music in Ireland, across the whole island, and how important is it that we push on from now, that we don't become stagnant, that there is still space for the music scene here to grow even further than it already is?
Well, I think it is growing, and there's nothing we need to do except make room for it. You know, I mean, some of the people that are playing are out of this world. I mean, there's Mary Niwani's daughter. She's with a group of young women playing instruments, and they're fantastic. And they're making their own sound out of it. You know, it's not just, oh, I'll do what my dad did, I'll do what my ma did. You know, they're creative artists, and that's the most important thing.
And for TradFest 25, January 22nd, there will be a night celebrating poetry and yourself involving Paul Muldoon.
Yeah.
And obviously you mentioned him a little bit earlier. What impact has he had on the music scene here, and how excited are you for that January gig?
Well, you know, he's not just a, you know, down at home poet. He's a great artist, you know, and he's moved poetry on, as all the people I've mentioned have, you know, Muldoon, but also, of course, Heaney, of course, Mahon. Mahon's a great poet, and he writes a lot about the climate thing and the possible, you know, how we have to look after our world, you know, and that's, you know, but they're all extraordinary, you know. I used to meet Michael Hartnett. What a guy, you know. You can't do without poetry.
Simple as that.